We are broadcasting now. So participants, please listen very carefully to all our eminent speakers, our faculty members who have worked hard to make this event very knowledgeable for you people. So starting this.
Thank you, Gurudat. Good morning, respected Dean, Principal and Controller Ma'am, all the respected speakers and all the enthusiastic attendees who have joined us from various medical and other colleges across the nation. Before we move on any further, let me introduce myself. My name is Dr. Madhuri Gupta, Associate Professor, Department of Biochemistry, National Institute of Medical Sciences and Research, Jaipur. Welcome you all. With a beautiful list of great personalities as our eminent speakers and under the esteemed guidance of our respected Principal Ma'am, today our National Institute of Medical Sciences and Research is organizing this webinar cum awareness program on Anemia Mukt Bharat, a medico-social talk. This program, Anemia Mukt Bharat, intensified National Iron Plus Initiative, INIP, aims to strengthen the existing mechanisms and foster newer strategies for tackling anemia. The reduction of anemia is one of the major objectives of the Poshan Abhiyan launched in March 2018. We are so lucky to have very illustrious panel, and they will go through with the physiology of anemia, followed by overview and prevalence of anemia among children and women, and will enlighten on INP program. This is the 75-minute session with 10 to 15 minutes reserved for question and answer session. I hope each one of you will learn a lot from today's session and execute your knowledge for betterment of society, as you all are our budding doctors. And we should never forget, Swasth Rahega India, to Aage Badhega India. So, health heroes, let's start and welcome you once again. Now over to you, Gurudat.
Great start, ma'am, and a great concept, Swasth Rahega Bharat.
Swasth Rahega India, to Aage Badhega India.
Aage Badhega India, that's obviously. I just want to tell you all a few webinar rules that first of all the attendees who will be joining us till the end, till the Q&A session, will only be awarded the e-certificates or the hard copies. Secondly, if any one of you have to have any question in your mind and you have to ask our eminent speakers during the Q&A session, so you all must be seeing the Q&A tab. The Q&A tab. Please refrain chat section from writing your questions because these will not be answered at all there. So those questions will be put in Q&A tab, will only be answered by our speakers, and that too which will be relevant to the topic. So thank you very much. Now moving ahead, we have a legendary doctor with us, our Honorable Dean, Principal and Controller, Dr. Meenakshi Sharma ma'am, for presenting the welcome note and vision of the program. More than 42 years of teaching experience, acted as MCI and DNB accessor, felicitated by so many times for her exceptional contribution in field of critical care and emergency, distinguished examiner for various universities. So first, we welcome you, ma'am, and we would like to start with you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, Gurudev. Good morning to all the speakers and delegates. On behalf of our esteemed institution, I welcome you all to this webinar cum awareness campaign. The vision behind this is to bring change from a group of people who can further bring change to a community. The vision behind this is to bring change from a group of people who can further bring change to a community and put their endeavors to reduce anemia cases in our nation. The Anemia Mukt Bharat aims to strengthen the existing mechanism and foster newer strategies for tackling anemia. It focuses on 6 target beneficiary groups through 6 interventions and 6 institutional mechanisms to achieve the target under the Poshan Abhiyan. The objective is to reduce prevalence of anemia by 3% points per year among children, adolescents, and women in the reproductive age group between the year 2018 and 22. Let us say, रक्त में अभिव्यक्त तेरा प्रवाह शक्ति युक्त हो, विश्व गुरु इसे बनाना है, भारत एनीमिया मुक्त हो. Thank you for your participation. Thank you, Gurudev. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Have you got my message? Have you got my message clearly?
Yes, ma'am. We got your message. कि रक्त में अभिव्यक्त हमारा प्रवाह शक्ति युक्त हो, विश्व गुरु बनाना है तो पहले हमारा भारत एनीमिया मुक्त हो. That's
right.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for blessing us. And I must tell you, participants, ma'am has so many meetings today, and still she has given her precious time to us. Thank you, ma'am. I must tell you that she is our eminent speaker, Dr. Vinita Ilani, ma'am, professor of the Department of Physiology of our medical college, and she'll be telling on the topic anemia types and causes. Besides the coordinator of various committees and felicitated by NIMS University for her exemplary services, she brings knowledge with enthusiasm and tries to nurture every student in best possible way. So, ma'am, welcome.
Thank you, Gurudev. Should I share the screen now?
Yes, ma'am, sure.
थैंक यू गुरुदत्त। छोटे छोटे कदम बड़ा बदलाव लाते हैं, और साथ मिलकर चले, भारत को अनीमिया मुक्त बनाते हैं। गुड मॉर्निंग टू रेवरेंड प्रिंसिपल मैम, all the respected dignitaries, the eminent speakers, and the lovable attendees present here. It's a pleasure to be here. Hope you all are safe, fit and fine at your place. Now let's start with today's topic, anemia, Mukt Bharat, the types and the causes. But before knowing how to make India free from anemia, we should be aware of the definition, what is anemia, what are the types, and what are the causes of anemia. So anemia is a major killer in India. Statistics reveal that every second Indian woman is anemic. 1 in every 5 maternal deaths is directly due to anemia. Anemia affects both adults and children of both sexes, although pregnant women and adolescent girls are most susceptible and most affected by this disease. Now, if you go on the definition of anemia, and without anemia of blood is a decrease in RBC count or hemoglobin or hematocrit values, resulting in lower ability for the blood to carry oxygen to body tissues. WHO defines anemia as if the hemoglobin is less than 12 gram% in women and less than 13 gram% in men. Now, if you look at the prevalence of anemia in India and neighboring countries like Bangladesh, Bhutan, along with India, Nepal, Pakistan, and Sri Lanka, it's quite embarrassing as it is very severe because of the lack of awareness. In India, 7 out of 10 children aged 6 to 59 months are anemic, of which 3 are severely, 40% are moderately, and 26% are mildly anemic. 49.7% of Indian pregnant women suffer from anemia, though 20% maternal deaths are contributed by anemia. Iron deficiency anemia is the commonest cause of anemia in pregnancy. Anemia affects intelligence and performance. It's a hard fact, resulting in diminished concentration, disturbance in perception, poor learning ability. Decreased work output, decreased work capacity leads to reduced performance and productivity. And a very hard fact, anemic mother gives birth to an anemic baby. Again, the future is at stake. Now, if we look at the causes and types of anemia, we can broadly classify anemia on the basis of the etiology or cause and morphology. The morphology is altered because of etiology only. Etiology may be blood loss, inadequate production of normal blood cells, or excessive destruction of blood cells, resulting in the morphological changes from normocytic to microcytic and macrocytic. Grading as per WHO, mild, moderate, and severe, depending on the hemoglobin concentrations. If we look at the morphological classification, there may be normocytic normochromic anemia, macrocytic normochromic anemia, macrocytic hypochromic anemia, and microcytic hypochromic anemia. Now, etiologically, we can broadly classify into hemorrhagic, hemolytic, nutritional deficiency, aplastic, or anemia due to certain chronic diseases. Hemorrhagic anemia, excessive loss of RBC, एकदम blood का loss हो जाना, खून की कमी हो जाना, bleeding stomach, ulcers, menstruation. It may be acute or it may be chronic. Acute sudden loss, like you've met an accident and a lot of blood is lost. There is a decrease in RBC count, which causes hypoxia. As such, bone marrow is stimulated via erythropoietin to produce RBC, and condition is corrected in 4 to 6 weeks. RBCs here are normocytic normochromic. Now, the blood indices in anemia are also hampered. Chronic hemorrhage due to external or internal bleeding over long period, peptic ulcer or piles, iron is lost, less hemoglobin in cells, cells are microcytic and hypochromic. If we know, hemolytic anemia is abnormal breakdown of RBCs, either in the blood vessels, intravascular hemolysis, or elsewhere in the human body. Causes may be liver failure, renal disorders, infections, or hypersplenism. Congenital defects in the shape of RBCs this is a bit, I'm removing this video. It occurs in sickle cell anemia or thalassemia. Extravascular hemolysis. Red cell destruction occurs in reticuloendothelial cells like the spleen and the liver due to hypersensitivity against some drugs, parasitic infections like malaria, black fever, intravascular hemolysis due to glucose 6-phosphate dehydrogenase deficiency. Now, why? Because this glucose 6-phosphate dehydrogenase form NADPH. What's the role of NADPH then? It maintains glutathione in reduced state, and this glutathione reduced state maintains the membrane of RBC, gives stability to RBC membrane. So, but decrease leads to damaged RBC membrane. RBC become more fragile. It may be due to sulfonamides, certain antimalarial drugs. Sometimes, and autoantibodies are targeted to antigens on the patient's own RBCs, resulting in extravascular hemolysis causing autoimmune hemolytic anemia. Now, most common nutritional deficiency anemia, which may be iron deficiency, protein deficiency, megaloblastic or pernicious anemia, another them Addison's anemia. Iron deficiency. Women are at risk severely. The blood is lost via menstrual blood and growing fetus also. Low iron intake, poor absorption from the intestine. Signs are brittle nails, koilonychia, spoon-shaped nails, atrophy of papillae of tongue, brittle hair, dysphagia and glossitis, soreness of tongue, Plummer-Wilson syndrome, where there is a difficulty in swallowing, web develops. RBCs are microcytic and hypochromic in iron deficiency anemia. You can observe from the diagram the soreness of the tongue, the spoon-shaped nails, the yellowness of the skin. Protein deficiency, synthesis of hemoglobin is reduced, the globin part. RBCs are macrocytic and hypochromic. As we know that as the RBC matures, it decreases in size. So once the maturation factor is hampered, the RBCs are macrocytic. Megaloblastic anemia caused by certain medications, inherited defects in metabolism of vitamin B12 or folic acid. Symptoms again, soreness or shortness of breath, muscular weakness, paleness of tongue, skin, glossitis, swollen tongue, loss of appetite, weight. Pernicious anemia or Addison's disease, it's called pernicious because once the damage done, it cannot be reversed. Though you can control it, but you cannot reverse the damage done. It is a type of megaloblastic anemia. Now here I should tell you that a normocyte develops into a mature RBC, but a macrocyte forms a megaloblast. Inability of stomach to absorb vitamin B12 from small intestine due to decreased production of intrinsic factor. And this is due to atrophy of gastric mucosa as autoimmune destruction of parietal cells. RBCs are immature with normal hemoglobin content, macrocytic and normochromic. Symptoms of pernicious anemia are pins and needles, tingling sensation in the hands and feet, paresthesia, wobbly gait, difficulty in walking, clumsiness and stiffness of arms and legs, dementia, lemon yellow color, pale skin, and ataxia or muscular incoordination. Now, aplastic anemia, depression of red bone marrow caused by certain toxins, gamma radiations. When it is of minor degree, it is hypoplasia, but severe degree, aplasia. Aplastic bone marrow results in depression of all blood cells, pancytopenia. Common in tuberculosis, hepatitis, HIV infections. Cells are normocytic and normochromic. Now, chronic diseases causes anemia. Various factors are involved in that. Here, the RBC's lifespan is shortened due to this, or there is a disturbance in iron metabolism. Non-infectious diseases like rheumatoid arthritis or neoplastic disorders. RBCs here are normocytic, normochromic. You can observe from the diagram how anemia affects various organs. Yellowing of eyes, paleness, coldness, yellowing of skin, centrally fatigue, dizziness, and fainting. If not taken care of, proper medication is not done. Low blood pressure, palpitations, rapid heartbeat leading to heart attack also. Enlargement of spleen or splenomegaly. Intestine, changed color stool, muscular weakness, shortness of breath, paleness, coldness, and yellowing of skin. So this all are the complications of anemia. So awareness and proper medication is required because in the end, I should tell you one thing. We are born to live and fly high, not to be sick and cry. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Definitely, we are born to fly high, and we all love you, ma'am, for your always, for always guiding and inspiring and being an inspiration.
Thank you, Gurudev. Thank you to all.
So, audience, introducing you all to our next speaker, Professor and Head Department of Pediatrics, NIMS Hospital, respected Dr. Yogaraj Khinche, sir. He is formerly the professor of pediatrics in SMS Medical College, JNU Medical College, King Faisal University, Saudi Arabia, etc. Also, sir was the in charge of neonatology unit at State Janana Hospital, Jaipur. So let's explore into his topic, anemia in childhood. Welcome,
speaker. I will go on to the Anemia Mukt Bharat. The Anemia Mukt Bharat takes into consideration the XXX strategy, that is 6 beneficiaries, 6 intervention, and 6 institutional mechanisms. Okay, so out of these 6 beneficiaries, you will find that majority of beneficiaries belong to pediatric age group. Like what we can say, children between 6 months to 59 months, that is up to 5 years. They are basically 124 million. Between 5 to 9 years, 134 million. And 10 to 19 years, 115 million children. So large majority of beneficiaries belong to the pediatric and adolescent age group. Now just very briefly, we will go to look at basically what are the basic etiological causes. Let us start. Anemia, decreased production, as the previous speaker has also mentioned, and it may be increased loss or it may be increased destruction. So decreased production may be because of nutrient deficiency. Most common is iron deficiency, followed by folate and B12 deficiency. Both of these are referred as nutritional anemia. And then we have hematopoietic cell damage or maybe bone marrow failure. Or it may be because of plastic anemia or maybe the aplasia of the bone marrow. As far as increased loss or destruction is concerned, it may be blood loss anemia, which may be because of the parasites like malaria, or it may be bleeding from maybe the peptic ulcer or maybe the esophageal varices or so many areas, so many pathologies. And other hand, there may be hemolytic anemia, which could be thalassemia, sickle cell anemia, J6PD, and maybe it is because of drugs and parasites. So this is basically in nutshell, basically what happens during the pathogenesis of anemia, decreased production or increased loss or destruction of the RBCs. Now morphological classification, simple flow diagram, no mean corpuscular volume, microcytic, normal microcytic volume, normocytic, and high microcytic volume, macrocytic. Now we go through the flow diagram, measure ferritin. If it is low, you are dealing most likely with iron deficiency anemia. If it is normal or high, most probably you are dealing with anemia of chronic disease or congenital hemoglobinopathies. If it is normocytic anemia, then you go for the reticulocyte count. If it is macrocytic anemia, go for B12 levels or folic acid levels. If you find the low, it is megaloblastic anemia. If it is normal, then again you resort to the reticulocyte count. And if the reticulocyte count is high, then you need to consider hemolytic anemia or blood loss anemia. In acute blood loss, then maybe high reticulocyte count. If it is low reticulocyte count, probably you are dealing with anemia of chronic renal disease, anemia of renal failure, or maybe marrow failure. So this is in nutshell the flow diagram. How do you proceed to have an investigation and establishing the cause of anemia? Now, most common is nutritional anemia, and most emphasis is being given as far as Anemia Mukt Bharat is concerned about the nutritional anemia component, especially in the children and the pregnant ladies and expectant ladies and lactating mothers and reproductive age mothers. So what we have is iron deficiency anemia and megaloblastic anemia, protein deficiency and deficiency. All these lead to chronic state of nutritional anemia. What is the iron metabolism? Basically, the baby is born with 3 grams of iron from the mother, and an adult has got 5 grams of total iron, which is stored in the liver, and this iron is recycled from liver to the bone marrow for the production of the RBCs. Now, it is very alarming to note down that only 10% of 10 to 20 milligram of dietary iron is absorbed, and this is absorbed in the jejunum, and it is stored as ferritin and hemocysteine. Now, what are the factors causing anemia in childhood? Low iron stores because of the poor iron stores right from the neonatal period, infancy, childhood deficiency and adolescent anemia, dietary deficiencies because of the inappropriate feeding.
I think some network error has occurred with sir. Just
Pica, perverted appetite, loss of papillae of the tongue, ball tongue, glossitis, angular cheilitis, flat nail, and immune dysfunction as well. So this is the picture of flat ball tongue. This is the glossitis and angular cheilitis because of the iron deficiency, alcoholonikia, spoon-shaped nails are there. Now the definition, the iron deficiency anemia basically can be picked up by simple HB or hematocrit and RBC indices. And this is the basically the peripheral blood film, which is showing us the hypochromic microcytic anemia. If you want to have a confirmatory diagnosis, then we go to serum iron, TIBC, transfusion saturation, serum ferritin, and bone marrow iron, which is required. So how to treat the anemia of iron deficiency? First of all, you have to make a correct diagnosis, because in some of the causes of anemia, there may be iron overload, which I will come a little later on. And if it is a correct diagnosis, then you have to start the diet, or you have to start the iron therapy. We usually start low dose of iron, maybe from 3 to 3 milligram per kg of elemental iron, and we build up gradually to maximum 6 milligram of the iron, which is given in 2 divided doses. And duration is minimum 3 months after hemoglobin has normalized. That is basically to replenish the stores in the liver. So it should not stop as soon as the hemoglobin is normalized, that is more than 12 or more than 13 is appropriate. So you should give continuously and then revert back to prevention part, which is the main theme in the Anemia Mukt Bharat. So don't stop once the iron or the 3 months are over, the treatment part is over. Basically, the prevention part will continue. What is prevention part? We will discuss a little later. Now, basically, megaloblastic anemia, much has been commented about this megaloblastic anemia. So only thing is basically duration of treatment. Folic acid, basically for 3 to 6 months, maybe 1 to 5 milligram per kg. If it is B12, pernicious anemia, then you have to give injectables. Otherwise, oral can be given for 3 to 6 months. At the same time, you should identify the cause of the megaloblastic anemia. Like if it is the worm infestation, you have to correct it, or it may be dietary insufficiency, then you have to improve the diet. Now the 6 interventions. Now what basically the point of highlight is, as far as pediatric component is concerned, delayed cord clamping. It has been a routine practice that as soon as the baby is delivered, we always clamp the cord immediately. So WHO has clearly mentioned that minimum 60 seconds to be given for the blood flowing from placenta to the baby, so that not only the iron stores of the baby will be increased, but also the anemia part and also the volume will be restored in the baby. So 60 minutes is the mandatory time given that the cord should not be clamped if baby is not asphyxiated. If it's something like baby is asphyxiated, then you can clamp the cord earlier. Another thing is basically address the non-nutritional causes of anemia in endemic pocket with special focus on malaria and hemoglobinopathies, particularly the sickle cell and also the thalassemia major, and also at the same time the fluorosis. Fluorosis also causes indirectly the iron deficiency anemia because of the gut damage and also direct destruction of the RBCs. Now intervention, once basically we have treated the iron deficiency by iron therapy and also giving replenishing the stores of iron in the liver for 3 months, then we should resort back to the prophylaxis, that is preventive part in iron, the Anemia Mukt Bharat. And what is being recommended is basically for all the children between 6 months to 59 months, that is less than 5 years, from 6 months onwards, up to 6 months, you need not to give the iron therapy. We give iron therapy only in the preterm babies, that too also after a period of maybe minimum 2 months, okay, because it is not required there and it may be detrimental. And what is the dose of the preventive iron therapy in this age group is basically just 20 milligram of elemental iron, 100 microgram of folic acid. And this is contained in 1 ml of the bottle, which is 50 ml bottle. So this has to be given bi-weekly, twice in a week. Okay. Now another age group is basically when the prevention continues is 5 to 10 years of children. So weekly iron is given, 1 tablet, which is pink color tablet, which is containing 45 milligram of elemental iron and 400 micrograms of folic acid. So it is only once in a week in this age group. Then comes to the adolescent girls and boys, that is 10 to 19 years of age. The prophylaxis continues, that weekly iron is given, and this is the blue color tablet, which contains 60 milligram of elemental iron and 500 milligram of folic acid. Now, what other intervention? Basically, the behavioral intervention focus is basically on the 4 key behaviors: compliance to iron folic acid supplements and deworming. So this deworming part is very important. You continue to supplement, as I mentioned in the previous slides, and deworming should be done to all the children every 6 months as per WHO guidelines. Every 6 months, deworming should be done irrespective of symptomatology. Appropriate infant and young child feeding also is to be appropriately promoted. Increased intake of iron-rich, protein-rich, vitamin C-rich food from diet and diversification and consumption of fortified foods, and practices of delayed cord clamping in all health facility deliveries, followed by early initiation of breastfeeding within 1 hour of the birth. So these are the 4 key behaviors which are to be changed in addition to what we have given. Just few flow diagram about the hemolytic anemia. So it may be immune or it may be non-immune. It may be congenital or it may be acquired. As far as congenital is concerned, it may be RBC membrane defects like hereditary spherocytosis, erythrocytosis, or RBC enzyme deficiency like G6PD. Ineffective erythropoiesis may be there like thalassemia. Hemoglobinopathies may also be there, including sickle cell anemia. So all these are referred as congenital hemolytic anemias. And the importance lies basically in the prenatal diagnosis. You diagnose before the baby is born, prenatal diagnosis. Most of these can be diagnosed, like thalassemia and sickle cell can be diagnosed. And counseling can be done in the prenatal period or antenatal period so that the lifelong burden is avoided, and also the control of total problem of the anemia is resolved. Now, acquired maybe the infection, maybe the malaria, Kala-Azar also in certain belts are there in Kala-Azar as far as India is concerned. Then there may be the mechanical blood loss also. Then you have immune, it may be autoimmune, alloimmune, or drug-induced anemia. Now, the bottom line is very important. Prevention of congenital hemolytic anemia, say for example, sickle cell anemia and thalassemia are always preventable by prenatal diagnosis, and you can resort to the medical termination of pregnancy. Okay, so this is basically iron overload conditions. So you never should give more than required amount of the iron, because every child has to be supplemented with iron, but you need to segregate the children which are having congenital hemolytic anemia, because they are likely to go for iron overload. So this is something about the sickle cell anemia, because the sickling is produced when the deoxy state of the cells is there. So they will be clumping in the deoxy state in the peripheries, and that will be the sole pathogenesis for all the symptomatology, including dactylitis and the strokes and painful conditions, vaso-occlusive crisis. So many things are there. And this is how we diagnose the sickle cell anemia. Oval-jaw bodies are there because the spleen becomes large and the spleen becomes non-functional. Therefore, oval-jaw bodies are appearing in the peripheral blood. And classically, you will find the sickle cells in the peripheral blood film. And also the evidence of hemolysis, that is reticulocytosis. And diagnostic is HB electrophoresis. Similarly, the thalassemia measure also, all the clinical features are there, including stunted growth, delayed puberty, jaundice, and massive hepatosplenomegaly. And the cardiomyopathy also is there, and the bone problems. And the HB electrophoresis is diagnostic. So all these patients will have hemolytic phases because the flat bones continue to produce the marrow after the 2 years of age. The long bones will not be producing, and they have got the hemolytic phases. So this picture, we don't want to see this picture. Hair on hand appearance in the skull X-rays. And this is basically managed on the chronic blood transfusion, but they are basically iron overloaded. Therefore, at the same times, we should start the iron chelation therapy, desferrexamine, injectable, or dafriquinone oral. So these patients are basically always started with iron chelation therapy. If you don't start iron chelation therapy, these children will not survive beyond third decade or fourth decade. And also the splenectomy, there may be indication of splenectomy, and maybe some synthesis may be there, hydroxyurea and butyric acid, maybe increasing HB synthesis. And lastly, the bone marrow transplantation. If the patient is suitable for bone marrow transplantation, it should be done very early in the. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir, for this valuable content, sir. So now it's a question of audience poll. You all have to answer this question in 1 or 2. We have 2 options of this question. So you can answer in chat section. We will check who will answer best. So audience poll is, what's the cause of anemia in adolescent boys? Is it worm infestations or dietary deficiency? What's the most common cause out of these 2? In adolescent boys, mark my words. Let's answer fast in 5 to 10 seconds. Answer 1 or 2. Is it worm infestations or dietary deficiency? Okay, thank you. So as many of the students are answering dietary deficiency, let me tell you that in adolescent boys, the worm infestation is the most common cause of the adolescent boys. Though some have answered first option correctly. So thank you for participating actively.
Thank you everyone for your active participation. Let's move on to the next speaker, Dr. Deepa Lokwani Masand ma'am, Senior Professor in Department of Obs and Gynae, NIMS Hospital. A great doctor with a great personality, ma'am has added many laurels to her career, like being the Joint Secretary of JOKES, Vice President of NARCHI Rajasthan Chapter, and active member of various esteemed organizations. I humbly request ma'am to give light on anemia in pregnancy, its consequences and management. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you very much for this kind introduction. A very good morning to all esteemed members, principal madam, and senior colleagues, and dear students. So today, it's a very important topic for us to make our India Anemia Mukt Bharat. So I would like to cover iron deficiency anemia in females. Sashakt Nari will lead to Sashakt Bharat. Speaker off. So let's move on to the presentation. Now, anemia is such a disease which affects all age groups. and it leads to a high mortality in every age group. Now, when we look into the prevalence of anemia, it's a major public health problem globally, and it's a primary cause of 40% of maternal deaths directly or indirectly. Right, the female is already anemic, and if she's facing some complication during her pregnancy or childbirth, it directly or indirectly leads to high maternal mortality. And even it is one of the top 10 risk factors for infant mortality, maternal mortality, and even preterm births. Not only we have to make Anemia Mukta Bharat to make the present generation healthy, but it also leads to improvement in our next generation also, right? So it's a future plan. Now, when we look into the prevalence of anemia in Indian scenario, if you look into the generation-wise or age-wise distribution, it almost 60 to 65% of the childhood generation is affected, and more than 80% of adolescent girls and who are going to become pregnant in next 10 years or 15 years, they are definitely anemic. So it's a matter of a high concern that we should look into this, and we should make some important decisions to make Anemia Mukta Bharat. And the commonest of all is iron deficiency anemia. So Anemia Mukta Bharat is our present topic of discussion. See, when we see these figures, the highest, the peak is of adolescent females, right? So those females who have started menstruating, they are already anemic, and then they are going to become pregnant in next 10-15 years. So see, all generations are affected. So it's very important to cut this out at this level itself. And 20% of adolescents in 10 to 19 years of age they belong to India, and 1 out of 2, like 50% of Indian adolescent girls are anemic. So we have to do something about it. During our National Family Health Survey 3 and 4, there's definitely an improvement in 2005, and right in 15 and 16, there's definitely an improvement from 55% to 53% in non-pregnant females, and from 57 to 50% in pregnant females. So this is definitely an improvement, but this is not that much satisfying that it will make a Anemia Mukta Bharat. So what is the definition of anemia? It's already been covered. When we look into the WHO cutoffs for the diagnosis, number 12 is very important. All females, non-pregnant females, should be about 12 grams of hemoglobin. That is why when they will not need any prevention strategy or any prophylactic regimes for them. So every adolescent female should be about 12, right? For pregnant women, WHO has set the cutoff of 11 grams. What are the conditions which are seen to be associated with iron deficiency anemia? It should be kept in the mind that physiological anemia can be there in infancy, adolescent girls, pregnancy, who are doing regular blood donation, or who being an elite athlete. Then there are some blood losses because of malignancy, and IBD ulcers are related to elderly age group. Gynecological loss in reproductive age groups because of surgery, hematuria, hemodialysis. So these are chronic conditions that may lead to chronic blood loss, and that may lead to iron deficiency anemia. So these things have to be kept in mind when you are dealing with elderly age group. Malabsorption is one of the reasons as an important, as well as in reproductive age group. Then some chronic diseases are also associated. So whenever we look into the iron deficiency anemia, we should keep all these conditions into our mind, and while taking a proper history, we can rule out all of these conditions one by one. So it's not very difficult to rule out these conditions. Now, why iron deficiency anemia is so much important in pregnancy? See, the iron requirement, total requirement, is increased during pregnancy because of these fetus and placenta demand. So almost 1000 milligram of extra iron is needed during the pregnancy. And this demand is increased almost 10 times, as we can see in this picture, that it is usually 0.8 milligram per day in the first trimester, whereas it increases to 7.5 milligram per day. And Indian diet is very much deficient to provide such a high demand during pregnancy. So when we look into the causes of anemia during pregnancy, we should have all the possible causes in our mind. Though they are very less, they are having decreased prevalence during pregnancy, but we should keep all the things in our mind so that not only we treat the iron deficiency anemia or nutritional deficiency because of iron, folic acid, B12 and other vitamin and minerals, but we should all keep these things into our mind that we have already discussed. So the signs and symptoms have already been covered in our first lecture and second. To briefly discuss, no doubt, the easy fatigability, respiratory distress, and in more severe condition, hemodynamic instability. Cardiorespiratory system is become unstable because of iron deficiency. In children and adolescents, the growth retardation is the main matter of concern. In adults and in elderly, there is cognitive function and coronary and cerebrovascular insufficiency may lead to there because of iron deficiency anemia. Now in pregnancy, there are so many complications that may occur because of iron deficiency anemia, which is increased risk of preterm delivery, premature rupture of membrane, preeclampsias, intrauterine death, intrauterine growth retardation, and congestive heart failure is the most important when the patient goes into the severe anemia condition where congestive cardiac failure is very much prevalent in these patients in around 30 to 32 weeks during delivery or immediately postpartum. And the rest fetal outcome, which is adversely affected because of low birth weight, prematurity, various infections, congenital malformation, anemia, and cognitive development disorders. So maternal anemia, it contributes to 18% of perinatal mortality and morbidity, and almost 20% of maternal mortality in South Asian countries. So we should always look into the condition of iron deficiency anemia and try to treat it before time so that our next generation is not affected and present generation is saved of complications or going into high morbidity and mortality condition. Now it's very easy to diagnose. You just have to perform 2-3 tests. Let's go directly onto the algorithm table. Now if a patient is found to be anemic according to the grading system, hematocrit is less and hemoglobin is almost 10 or less, you just perform a simple test, that is peripheral blood smear or a complete blood count that would tell you the various indices like mean corpuscular volume. Now you divide into 3 categories. If it is low, that is microcytic. Microcytic, you do the iron studies. If it is indicative of iron deficiency, you directly go and treat it. If iron studies are normal and still the cells are microcytic, in that case, you have to look for the abnormal hemoglobins or the minor thalassemia traits for those patients. Now in normal normocytic anemia, you have to go for reticulocytic count, and with abnormal RBC morphology, you have to rule out hemolysis or the bleeding tendency, or if the reticulocyte count is normal or low, you have to go for the impaired RBC production from the bone marrow or because of chronic disease. Now, if you're finding macrocytic anemia along with the microcytic, you have to be very sure about the other nutritional deficiency and you should treat it. So it's very simple to diagnose anemia by doing such simple tests, and you can treat it very well. Now the anemia management, you have to treat the underlying cause. You have to give the dietary nutritional intervention alone, or would be insufficient if you do that for the prevention part, but you have to treat it with the iron supplementation. Now these iron supplementation is intended not only to correct the anemia, but you have to replenish the iron stores. So once the hemoglobin levels are achieved, you have to give the prophylactic doses to replenish the iron stores. Now what is the role of iron in our body? Iron is critical for oxidative metabolism, being an obligate component of hemoglobin, myoglobin, and the cytochrome and iron sulfur proteins. So it is helpful. That is why when in anemia, there is easy fatigability. Now dietary intervention, what is recommended globally is high protein diet, green leafy vegetable, and non-vegetarian poultry and fish content, high content. So that is encourage them to take iron-rich diet, guiding them in optimizing adequate iron-rich diet. And there should be screening of all non-pregnant women for anemia starting in the adolescent every 5 to 10 years. And now, because of Anemia Mukt Bharat strategies, we are very much able to make our females in India anemia mukt. And screening have to be done for any abnormal heavy menstrual bleeding, worm infestation, or low iron diet, and that should be screened right at that moment. Now, if a patient is anemic, how will you treat that? You have 3 preparations with you, whether it is oral, parenteral, or blood transfusions. Now, every time we don't switch over to parenteral or blood transfusion strategies. And nowadays, our treatment strategies are so much advanced that blood transfusions can be very much avoided and we can very much treat. Now, what is the purpose of oral iron supplementation? This is the first line of treatment of iron deficiency. An adult, we know 100 to 200 elemental iron daily in divided doses can be given. Children doses have already been explained. And the expected response, once you start giving iron therapy, how would you know that your patient is improving? So there should be reticulocyte count done after 3 days to see whether it is improved because of giving iron therapy. Then there has to be an improvement in hemoglobin, about 2 grams per DL, around at 3 weeks. So you have to monitor. Once you start giving iron therapy in anemic patients, you have to monitor your treatment strategy, whether your treatment is going to affect the condition, or is it some other cause that you have ignored or overlooked and it's not corrected. Now this is the important point, that once anemia is corrected, you have to give oral iron supplementation to replenish the iron store for next 3 months. Now, iron supplementation in pregnancy per se, if we say for the prophylactic dose is 30 to 60 mg of elemental iron along with 400 micrograms of folic acid. And if a woman is diagnosed with anemia, it has to be increased. In Indian scenario, FOGSI is our central gynecological society that recommend that 100 mg of elemental iron twice daily in anemic patient and 500 microgram of folic acid should be given. And then later, once the hemoglobin is restored, a prophylactic daily iron dose of 60 to 100 mg of iron and 500 microgram of folic acid should be recommended for 6 months later to replenish the store. This is the same that WHO and Ministry of Health and Family Welfare have given to us. Now, Anemia Mukt Bharat has again endorsed the same strategy that we have already taken into account, and it is at the community level. That tablet comes in red color, and this again contains the iron folic acid tablet in the prophylactic dose of 60 milligram iron and 500 microgram of folic acid. And pregnant and lactating mother, again here in non-reproductive, non-pregnant females, we are giving weekly, and in pregnant women and lactating mother, we are giving continuously daily for at least 180 days. So this is the strategy that Anemia Mukt Bharat has gone for. For adolescent females, our FOGSI general clinical practice recommendations are again for weekly tablets of iron folic acid along with the deworming at least biannually. So this is all recommended as well as endorsed by our central body of India also. So when we take into account oral iron supplementation that are available, so we are having ferrous preparation as well as ferric preparation, but no doubt ferrous preparation are better to get absorbed, and we prefer giving ferrous preparation like ferrous ascorbate, ferrous fumarate, sulfate, glycinate, and sometimes iron polymaltose complex are given where ferric preparations are also given along with it. Oral iron supplementation absorption is a major part where malabsorption takes place, so that would not be effective. So it should be given 1 hour after meals for better absorption and preferably with vitamin C rich products. Now, assessing response, I've already discussed it. So you have to assess the response 2 to 3 weeks and assess the condition. Now, parenteral iron preparation, there are various parenteral preparation which are available with us, type 1, type 2 and type 3. So who are the patient where you would prefer giving parenteral iron preparation? So those who are intolerant to oral iron and are anemic, there is poor compliance to oral iron, inadequate absorption like malabsorption or some other disease, then lack of response to oral iron. In that case, you can give parenteral iron preparation. In parenteral iron preparation, it's once indicated intravenous iron therapy is every time superior to oral iron therapy in terms of speed and absolute extent of hemoglobin excess. Only contraindication is anaphylactic reaction. So to some of the preparation, those with newer preparation, it's not there. When we talk about IV iron sucrose injection, which can be given alternate day in 200 mg with normal saline dilution, and it can be infused after calculating the cumulative iron deficit. So we can calculate an iron dose for a patient for anemia and to replenish her iron stores. So adverse reactions are very less and rare, but they are there. So it should be taken into account and to be given with caution. The special population like pregnancy first trimester, it's not given because of the category B condition. Pediatric use, the safety and efficacy is still not established. Then ferric carboxy FCM is the newer parenteral iron preparation, which is by which you can give a higher dose of iron at a single sitting. There is no hypersensitivity noted till now, and it can be administered in a very short infusion time. So this is one of the boon, and it has really replaced. This is the medical blood transfusion, and we have seen in our pregnant patients who present late to us in our OPD and who are anemic, and once we give them FCM injection, blood transfusions can be avoided into these patients. So these are various parenteral iron preparation which can be compared. The superior most right now at present is ferric carboxymaltose, which can be given safely to our patients. And our FOGSI GCPR also endorsed these things about the safety and efficacy of ferric carboxymaltose and iron sucrose preparation. It has been approved to use. Now, during pregnancy, it can be given, and after pregnancy, it has to be given. So, recommendation says that you have to provide iron preparation, parenteral or oral in postpartum anemic patient itself also to replenish their stores and to prevent further anemia. Blood transfusion, there is a very limited role of blood transfusion nowadays. If the patient is severely anemic and is less than 34 weeks, then only, or she is in impending heart failure. Above 34 weeks, you have to give blood. If she is less than 7, that is severe anemia is there, and you don't have time to give parenteral iron preparations. So an intrapartum period, postpartum period, where the patient present to you directly at severe anemic level. Role of deworming is to be highlighted for Anemia Mukt Bharat, because this is a slow poisoning, like gradual withdrawal of blood from the patient's body. So you have to do the role of, you have to know the significance of deworming. So it is nowadays given by the government and aided schools, where teachers have been giving the students a chewable tablet on full stomach, and soil transmitted, like hygiene points have to be taken care of by Swachh Bharat. That has already been highlighted by a previous speaker, that using sanitary toilet, not defecating outside, hand washing, particularly before eating and using toilet, wearing slippers and shoes, washing fruits and vegetables in safe and clean water, and have properly cooked food that can save. Now, time and again, there have been so many programs by our government which have been taking initiative for anemia control. So these programs will be taken up by our next speaker, Dr. Amit Kamboj. I would just highlight, there was a program 12 by 12 initiative which was launched by AIMS, which took an initiative, and that was endorsed by Government of India, WHO and UNICEF itself. Then there was an anemia prophylaxis program, and now Anemia Mukt Bharat, that is working hard for making our Anemia Mukt Bharat. So let us plan to work for it, and to have this in mind right from the student level, to make aware our population and get them tested. And if they are anemic, we have to treat them, and if they are not anemic, we have to prevent anemia. So we have to give them weekly doses of iron folic acid tablet. So that is the take home message to all the students. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to speak in front of all of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for being here for us. Now introducing to the next speaker, Surveillance Medical Officer of WHO Regional Office, India for 10 years, Medical Officer of Government of UP for 1 year, Medical Faculty from last 7 years. Let's welcome our another speaker, respected Dr. Amit Kamboj, sir, Associate Professor, Community Medicine Department of our Medical College. Welcome, sir.
So names are National Nutritional Anemia Prophylaxis Program, started in 1970, National Iron Plus Initiative, Weekly Iron Folic Acid Supplementation 2013, Anemia Mukt Bharat, that is intensive part of NIPI, in 2018. So very good names with more or less similar interventions. We have a lot of interventions, community nutrition programs in name of midday meal program 1961, in 62 iodine deficiency disorder control program, in 70 nutrient anemia, this is repeat, in 70 again vitamin A prophylaxis program, 70 special nutrition program, tribal tribal population now with ICDS, and then in 75 ICDS, Integrated Child Development Services. Then Kishori Shakti Yojana in 91 added to ICDS, and midday meal in 95, and with the changes in 2000 with implementation of NRHM for food security in primary education, and applied nutrition program, Akshay Patra program, and most recently Prime Minister launched a Poshan Abhiyan from Rajasthan, Jhunjhunu on 8 March 2018. So very good names, very good plans. We have a lot of, numbers are great. A lot of effort is being seen here. Now, we can see in this trend analysis, the blue, leftmost blue is of 1998 and 99, and the rightmost green is NFHS4, that is 15 to 16, 2015 to 16. We can see these buildings are still high. So after a lot of effort, we can see in the analysis of preschool children, adolescent girls, ever married women, pregnant women, and men. So only little progress is there. 40 to 50 years of effort has minimal impact on anemia in our country. It's still 50 to 60% children and females are anemic. Something is wrong somewhere. Slow and inadequate coverage of intervention may be one of the reasons. Poor compliance may be another. As per Global Burden of Disease, a study in 2016, iron deficiency anemia is among the top 10 cause of disability adjusted life years for women. So this is clear. We are not reaching everyone, everywhere, always. Now, why we are not reaching? ना ज्ञान की कमी है, ना ज्ञानियों की कमी है. Implementation नहीं हो रहा है. हम लोग वहां नहीं पहुंच पा रहे हैं जहां हमें होना चाहिए. कौन से पॉइंट्स पे हमें फोकस करना चाहिए? किसको हमें टारगेट करना चाहिए? There are so many reasons. And this is for students. I would request you, all the batches. First of all, this is the opportunity for senior batches who are senior to 2019 batch. They are getting glimpse of vertically integrated classes. So congratulations to all of you. And second thing, I would request all the MBBS students who are listening, whenever you go to your family study, whenever you contact your family in family study in community, you may see half of them are anemic. You may check themselves. And why? What are the shortcomings? Who is not reaching them? Who is not doing his or her job? You can see there with your own effort. So with the it is evidence-based science now. So we can see BMJ Global Health 2018 analyzing our NFHS data of 2006 and 16, and it is presented in this chart. The outer circle shows the mother, and the inner circle shows the children. So these are the factors contributing to change in hemoglobin among children in pregnant women in India. So factors contributing to change in hemoglobin. Hemoglobin क्या करने से बढ़ता है? ऐसे हम इसको देख सकते हैं. So green part is 24%. 24% is maternal schooling. We can take it as education. So we can take it as even mother is not that much knowledgeable. Health education can always fill this gap. So this is 24%. You can connect it with health education interventions in the community. If you are going, MBBS students are going in the field, community for family study, you can educate the illiterate mothers. So it would be a 24% effort here. Then the 17% next is household socio-economic status. That is their wealth, how good they are, how the standard of living, how it is. And the major next major is about nutrition and health interventions, which we are talking about. It is only a minuscule part, though significant one. And then improved sanitation is also very, very important. Improved sanitation, all wash activities, that is water, safe water, sanitation and hygiene is also very important. In case of inner circle, the children, 10% in again mother awareness, socio-economic status, and 18% is nutrition and health intervention. Dr. Yogaraj has very beautifully explained that nutrition and health intervention by us, by workers in the field. Okay. So before Anemia Mukt Bharat, we need to understand. तो हम 60% लोग अगर एनीमिक हैं, 50 साल से एनीमिक हैं, तो क्या करें? क्या उनके घर जाएं? क्या स्कूलों में ढूंढने कौन कौन एनीमिक है? जी हाँ, हमें घर ही जाना है उनके और स्कूलों में ही ढूंढना है. कौन कौन एनीमिक है यही करना है. So we have that strategy in name of Anemia Mukt Bharat. Name is very good. Plan was very good also in past also, but now it is time to implement it. With the thrust. So 6 beneficiaries, 6 intervention, and 6 institutional mechanism. We have targets and prevalence and beneficiaries in the same slide. It is available on the net on the site of Anemia Mukt Bharat. So children 6 to 59, 58% prevalence at present is 2016 data, and we are targeting for 40% till 2022. Similarly, 11%, 36%, 35%, 32%, and 40% are the targets for other 5 beneficiaries already discussed. 6 institutional mechanisms are, we need to be prepared. ये तो उस डिपार्टमेंट का काम है, हमारा थोड़ी है. पैसा तो आया नहीं, कहाँ से दें? मेडिसिन का स्टॉक ही नहीं है, सैलरी नहीं मिली. All these bottlenecks can be tackled by our preparedness. So preparedness can be done with a proper institutional mechanism and intra-ministerial coordination, national anemia. Like हमारे कॉलेज में भी हम ये एक्टिविटी कर रहे हैं बेटा, अगर कोऑर्डिनेशन नहीं है तो लास्ट मोमेंट पे अचानक ही आप देखेंगे कुछ भी आपको मिसमैनेजमेंट दिखाई देने लगेगा. तो दिस इज लैक ऑफ कोऑर्डिनेशन. नेशनल एनीमिया मुक्त भारत यूनिट, नेशनल कैंसर एंड एक्सीलेंस एंड एडवांस रिसर्च ऑन एनीमिया कंट्रोल, ये एम्स या इसमें जैसे मैम ने भी बताया इंक्लूडेड है. कन्वर्जेंस विद अदर मिनिस्ट्रीज, क्योंकि आंगनबाड़ी की मिनिस्ट्री अलग है, हेल्थ एंड फैमिली वेलफेयर की अलग है, सैनिटेशन की अलग है. हम सबको प्रोग्राम को एक साथ लेकर चल रहे हैं क्योंकि एनीमिया हर चीज से इफेक्ट होता है. Strengthening supply chain logistic and Anemia Mukt Bharat as a one-stop shop on anemia. So we have a portal, we have a dashboard, so everything is available there. I'll be focusing on community interventions, so I should mention few things even if they are repeated. 6 interventions are there. Iron folic acid supplementation, it was always there in the program. देखते हैं इस बार इसमें क्या नया है. Deworming, it was added with the thrust, National Deworming Days. BCC, now actually it is SBCC, Social Behavior Change Communication. I've intentionally written it BCC. So behavior change communication, ऐसा communication जो behavior को change करे, नहीं तो उस communication का पोस्टर लगा के चले आए, IC मटेरियल बांट दिया, कुछ नहीं हुआ उससे. Digital test or treatment, iron and folic acid fortified food एंड नॉन न्यूट्रिशनल कॉजेस को एड्रेस करना। ये 6 इंटरवेंशंस हैं हमारी, जिसके ऊपर हम अब फोकस करें। So prophylactic iron folic acid supplementation is children 6 months to 59. That means children under 5 years already covered this part. So we are bi-weekly giving them 1 ml. 5 year to 9 year weekly, we are giving them 1 tablet, that is pink. Then blue tablet is given to adolescents with 60 milligram elemental iron. And women of reproductive age group, we are again giving 60 milligram with red color. So for women, it is red. For women of reproductive age group, pregnant and lactating mothers, it is red. Adolescent, it is blue. And for children, it is pink, 5 to 9 years. And we can see the change, 60 milligram elemental iron. Previously, it was 100. And previous to that, it was 60. So in 70, it was started with 60 milligram. In 89, it was converted to 100 milligram. Then in like in this program, again, we are going back to 60 milligram, perhaps for better compliance. And because it is now the dose is less, so we need to continue it for 180 days during pregnancy, starting after first trimester. So 180 days means 6 months. So 6 months after first trimester, we need to continue these 60 milligram of elemental iron and 500 microgram of folic acid, red color, sugar coated tablet, and for again 6 months for postpartum period. 6 months after delivery also. So basically we make it 1 full year with IFA supplementation. Deworming. This table only means if beneficiary is less than 24 months, then we need to give half tablet. Otherwise, we need to give 1 tablet of 400 milligram albendazole. When? 2 times in a year. 2 times in a year. So as 2 times in a year, we are doing so many activities. We are counting heads, newborn and pregnant lactating mothers by ICDS 2 times in a year, once in April, once in October. So we can do it with them with like counting heads and having meetings. It can be clubbed with that. We can visit in schools 2 times a year. So it is not difficult. It can be done. It is being done for last 3 or 4 years. Intensified year round. It is not just, if you remember, we are not reaching everyone everywhere always. So it is for always throughout the year. Behavior change communication campaign. So solid body, smart mind. सिर्फ नारे नहीं है कि बोल के और मुस्कुरा के हम चल दें कि हमने बड़ा अच्छा हिंदी में बोल दिया और बड़ा अच्छा इम्पैक्ट पड़ा, कुछ नहीं है सब. ये सब फील्ड में देखा जाता है, एक्चुअल क्या हो रहा है. Compliance, appropriate infant and young child feeding, iron rich, protein rich, vitamin C rich food, and delayed cord clamping. 4 पॉइंट हैं जिसके ऊपर अपने को बिहेवियर चेंज कम्युनिकेशन फोकस करना है. Compliance to iron folic acid supplementation and deworming. We need to address issues of vomiting, nausea, constipation, indigestion. Dose has been reduced 60 milligram, and perhaps health education may add to it. Second is appropriate infant and young child feeding with emphasis on adequate and age appropriate complementary food for children 6 months and above. तो weaning जो start करनी है तो वो ऐसे फूड से करनी है जो आयरन सप्लीमेंट पे भी हेल्प करे. आयरन रिच, प्रोटीन रिच, विटामिन सी रिच. ऑलरेडी योगराज सर ने और मैम ने इसको हाईलाइट कर दिया है. मैं सिर्फ मेंशन करूंगा आयरन रिच, प्रोटीन रिच, विटामिन सी रिच. कुछ सब्जियों के नाम लेने जरूरी है वरना एनीमिया का के टॉक अधूरी लगती है. तो मीट, फिश, एग, पोल्ट्री, ग्रीन लीफी वेजिटेबल, मस्टर्ड, फेनुग्रीक, मेथी, बथुआ, रेडिश, होल पल्स, बंगाल ग्राम, होल सीरियल्स, व्हीट, inclusion of vitamin C. Now promoting practice of delayed cord clamping already covered. So it is at least not for 1 minute, not for 60 seconds, it is at least 3 minutes or until cord pulsation ceases. So in all health facility delivery followed by early initiation of breastfeeding within first hour of birth. These all are the indicators also. NFHS 5 जब आएगा तो हम ये देखेंगे कितने % ने 1 घंटे में breastfeeding शुरू की. So we will compare states, we will compare districts on these indicators. So these are indicators also, these points. Environmental enteric dysfunction due to poor wash practices reduce the absorption of nutrient including iron. So wash is again safe water, sanitation and hygiene. So we need to talk about anemia. We need to tell our staff, ANM, ASHA, Anganwadi, how to do it. So behavior change process includes telling a story using story cards. The story of Kamla, how she was anemic and how she came out of it. What did she actually do and what like how communication helped her, how आशा बहन जी ने उसको कैसे मदद करी कमला की, और ये सब पूरी कहानी और ये सब स्टोरी कार्ड्स के थ्रू हम शेयर करें कम्युनिटी में. Presenting the first chart depicting 7 steps of behavior change. ये थोड़ा सा इसमें टेक्निकल पॉइंट्स हम लोग शेयर करते हैं. Sharing of personal experience by participants कि मेरे को ये प्रॉब्लम थी अब नहीं है. And presentation of groups and discussion. उसी ग्रुप में कि मेरी फर्स्ट प्रेगनेंसी में ऐसा हुआ था, जो कि बाद में एएनएम बेंजी के इंटरवेंशन से अब नहीं है. सो इट विल हेल्प देम इन एक्सेप्टिंग awareness, desire, knowledge, tries out, repeats, maintain and sustain. These are 7 steps in behavior change. I am repeating, behavior change is the only key. नहीं तो 50 साल से हम करते आ रहे हैं, ना ज्ञान की कमी है ना ज्ञानियों. जब तक हम सोशल हम SBC सोशल बिहेवियर चेंज कम्युनिकेशन नहीं करेंगे तब तक नहीं हो पाएगा. अब इस क्या करें कि वो स्टाफ भी ऑन टोज रहे, अलर्ट रहे. पल्स पोलियो में सब लोग ऑन टोज रहते थे, बहुत मेहनत से काम करते थे, क्योंकि डेटा का फ्लो था. हर वीक डेटा ग्रास रूट लेवल से और नेशनल लेवल तक जाता था. एवरी वीक, एवरी मंडे रिपोर्ट कंट्री प्रिपेयर करता था. सिमिलरली वही अप्रोच हमने यहाँ अप्लाई की है. व्हाट वेयर सब सेंटर एएनएम फिजिकल फॉर्मेट्स, शी विल फिल द फिजिकल फॉर्मेट्स, frequencies monthly. At PHC, data operator will punch it into HMIS, Health Management Information System. So we'll be following every anemic, and we'll be following like how they are being targeted, how they are being, how beneficiaries are getting advantage. Are we following them or not? Staff is working or not? That way we are preparing report monthly. CHC and the sub-divisional, sub-district hospital is also doing that. District hospital is also doing that. Similarly, states are doing it. So every month, all states are sending report to center, and center every 6 months preparing a report, and Niti Aayog is sharing it with Prime Minister office, because PMO is directly monitoring this. How we like how better we are in last 6 months. So that way we are preparing a report, and that is keeping our staff on toes. And point of care testing unit, digital hemoglobinometers are helping us in testing and treating anemia with focus on pregnant women and school going adolescent. तो क्या करना है, अपने को घर जाना है क्या, स्कूल जाना है? हाँ जाना है, स्कूल जाना है. एडोलेसेंट्स को आइडेंटिफाई करना है, और उनको पॉइंट ऑफ केयर टेस्टिंग डिवाइस का मतलब हुआ ऐसी डिवाइस जिसको पॉइंट ऑफ केयर, यानी कि हम स्कूल में विजिट कर रहे हैं तो क्लास में लेके जा सकें, वहां पर चेक कर सके कितने बच्चे एनीमिक हैं, और वहां पर जो भी इंटरवेंशन रिक्वायर्ड हो वहां पर हम वो कर सके. दैट इज पॉइंट ऑफ केयर टेस्टिंग डिवाइस, बेसिकली मोबाइल डिवाइस. Similarly, ANC contact points are also, they are equipped with the point of care testing device, digital hemoglobinometers, and at high cases and load, we are using hemoglobin level estimation is done by semi-auto analyzers. So these are few pictures of digital hemoglobinometers through microwave or through hemoglobin level using strips. We can see that. Treatment part is already covered, so I'm skipping it. Mandatory provision of iron, folic acid, fortified food in government-funded health program. Government has mandated use of fortified salt, where flour and oil in food served under ICDS and midday meal scheme to address micronutrient deficiencies. Primordial prevention की जब हम बात करते हैं तब हम क्या करते हैं कि स्कूल में कैंटीन में पिज्जा हटा देते हैं, जंक फूड हटा देते हैं. तो हम लाइफ साइकिल अप्रोच में, हम लाइफ साइकिल अप्रोच लेके चल रहे हैं. कंटिन्यूम ऑफ केयर की बात हो रही है NHM में, तो हम क्या कर रहे हैं, हम 6 महीने वाले बच्चे से लेकर 6 साल तक के बच्चे को ICDS में मिड डे मील के थ्रू हम कवर कर रहे हैं, हम न्यूट्रिशनल सप्लीमेंट्स दे रहे हैं, तो हम क्यों ना उसे फोर्टिफाई करें आयरन से. In addition, all health facility based program where food is being provided are mandated to provide. Same thing ICDS के लिए था या बाकी सब programs के लिए है जिसमें भी हम food supply करते हैं, we need to fortify it. नॉन न्यूट्रिशनल कॉजेज भी तो हैं, सिर्फ न्यूट्रिशनल ही थोड़ी है. बहुत सारे कॉजेज ऐसे हैं जो आयरन का कितना ही हम कर लें, कितना ही करें, लेकिन 25% 30% से ज्यादा. कुछ और कॉजेज भी हैं जो मेजर हैं, जैसे एक इन्फेक्शन है, ये 3 तो है ही इसमें. एक कॉमन इन्फेक्शन है, एक स्लम में रहने वाले 10 बच्चे हैं, उनको फ्रीक्वेंटली इन्फेक्शन होता है. पहले डायरिया, फिर ORS ठीक हुआ, इनकम्प्लीट ट्रीटमेंट मिला, फिर उसके बाद 20 दिन में रिपीट हुआ, फिर 1 महीने बाद रिपीट हुआ. कंटिन्यूअस स्टेट ऑफ इन्फेक्शन इन GI ट्रैक्ट. क्या कुछ एब्जॉर्ब होगा, क्या सप्लीमेंटेशन हेल्प करेगा, क्वेश्चनेबल. सो ऑल दीज फैक्टर्स वॉश मैं बता चुका हूं ऑलरेडी, वो रिपीट नहीं करूंगा. इसके अलावा मलेरिया, हीमोग्लोबिनोपैथीज एंड फ्लोरोसिस, ये साथ में और एडिशनल नॉन न्यूट्रिशनल कॉजेज हैं जिसके ऊपर प्रोग्राम में ट्रस्ट है. आइडेंटिफिकेशन ऑफ फ्लोराइड अफेक्टेड हैबिटेशंस, एक्टिविटी फॉर एनीमिया कंट्रोल ड्यू टू फ्लोरोसिस एंड कैपेसिटी बिल्डिंग ऑफ आवर स्टाफ टू आइडेंटिफाई ऑल दिस. तो पोषण अभियान, हल्ला तो बहुत है, अभियान, लेकिन अभियान का मतलब ये है कि मिशन है. मिशन का मतलब ये है कि जन आंदोलन है. आंदोलन कहीं दिखाई दे रहा है आपको अपने आसपास? कुछ नहीं दिखाई दे रहा. एक मेडिकल कॉलेज में रहने वाले हैं ये सब. इस बच्चों से कह रहा हूं, बेटा एक मेडिकल कॉलेज से निकलना और दूसरे में घुस जाना, फील्ड का पता ही नहीं होगा कुछ. कम्युनिटी मेडिसिन में जब फैमिली स्टडी करने जाओगे तब इन सब पॉइंट्स को जरूर देखना. फील्ड में क्या इंपैक्ट है, इज इट विजिबल और नॉट. हो सके तो कुछ फील्ड में ऐसी एक्टिविटी जरूर करना अपनी पीजी के बाद जो उसमें एक्सपोजर हो कि रियल इंडिया है कहाँ. सो पोषण अभियान क्या है? जन आंदोलन होना चाहिए. अभी है या नहीं देखते हैं. प्राइम मिनिस्टर ओवरआर्चिंग स्कीम ऑफ होलिस्टिक न्यूट्रिशन, ये पोषण की फुल फॉर्म है. अगर नहीं भी पता होगी तो कोई बड़ी बात नहीं है, काम होना चाहिए जो फील्ड में है. पोषण अभियान, जन आंदोलन. क्या करना है इसमें? और बहुत सारे पॉइंट्स हैं. रिड्यूस स्टंटिंग, अंडर न्यूट्रिशन, एनीमिया एक इसमें पॉइंट है. जिसको हम ईयरली 3% हम चाहते हैं कि ये हमारी जो सिचुएशन है वो 3% पर एनम की स्पीड से इंप्रूव हो थ्रू दिस जन आंदोलन मिशन मोड। पोषण माह इज ए पार्ट ऑफ इट। हम हर सितंबर के महीने में करीब 30 करोड़ लोगों को टच करते हैं थ्रू डिफरेंट मीटिंग्स, VHND, VHNSC मीटिंग्स, health and nutrition day already covered, through ASHA, through Anganwadi worker, through ANM, through focused group discussion in the community. So we are touching more than 30 crore people, and this is significant. यूरोप के तो बहुत कंट्रीज मिला के इतनी पॉपुलेशन नहीं है जितना एक महीने में हम लोग कवर कर रहे हैं पोषण माह में। So it has given major impetus to Abhiyan, and the broad theme is about antenatal care. Anemia is a part of it, of Poshan Mah. What I'm trying to say is, again, one more community intervention would be Swasth Bharat Yatra, Eat Right India. स्वच्छ भारत यात्रा मतलब पैन इंडिया साइक्लोथॉन। साइकिल से यात्रा करें, या इससे हमारा जो ओवर न्यूट्रिशन है वो भी करेक्ट होगा, अंडर न्यूट्रिशन के लिए भी हम अवेयर कर पाएंगे सबको। सो ईट राइट मींस covering both the things, undernutrition, micronutrient deficiency, and NCDs. And this is, it also emphasizes that India has load of both under and overnutrition. And 3 programs are there in Ayushman Bharat. We all know this is like insurance for our fellow countrymen. Swachh Bharat Mission, we wash activities, and Nirmal Bharat, Swachh Bharat, we all know about it, and Poshan Abhiyan. So all these are a part of this. Coordinated management effort. Coordinated means HMIS anemia scorecard is being filled or not. Quarterly reviews, biannual field reports, year-round BCC campaign, ensuring zero stock out, new method of screening and treatment in national and state anemia academic centers, institutional structure for convergence and support. ये सारे पॉइंट ऐसे हैं कि फील्ड में काम करने के लिए हैं, मेडिकल कॉलेज में सिर्फ प्रेजेंट करने और लर्न करने उसके बाद भूल जाने के लिए नहीं है। What is new? This is summary slide. Now I'm finishing. Routine testing and treatment for adolescent girl with point of care devices. Delayed cord clamping. Wait 3 minutes. Switch from 100 milligram to 60 milligram. Mandate use of fortified food in public health program. Special focus on use of double fortified salt, iodine, and iron. Use of invasive digital method of hemoglobin estimation and point of care treatment. Using intravenous iron, sucrose, ferric carboxymaltose for management of moderate to severe anemia, already covered. Special focus on newly wed women. This is one of the beneficiary, 20 to 24, covering private schools in addition to government and government-aided schools, and setting up program management unit for Anemia Mukt Bharat at national and state levels. Denominator and HMIS-based quarterly progress report. Denominator means हमें पता है कि किस population को हम cater कर रहे हैं और क्या उनका number है। ऐसा नहीं कि बस public में बांट दो, हमें यही नहीं पता कितने लोग हैं कितने नहीं। तो हम कैलकुलेट कर सकते हैं कि हमने कितना काम किया। लाइक एक सर्जन कैलकुलेट करता है कि मैंने इतने सर्जरी की साल में। कम्युनिटी मेडिसिन में आपने कितने लोगों को प्रिवेंट किया, अगर डिनोमिनेटर नहीं होगा, यू कैन नॉट नो। सो फॉर दैट यू नीड टू हैव अ डिनोमिनेटर, डेडिकेटेड AMB Anemia Mukt Bharat dashboard and portal. Strengthening program to address non-nutrition causes, malaria, fluorosis, hemoglobinopathies, National Center of Excellence and Advanced Research at AIIMS, State Institute in every state, and creating a Jan Andolan through intensive communication, newly developed communication material and communication activities. And you students, while visiting your family in family visit, you will utilize all your points. You will require your health education skills, counseling by sharing all the knowledge with your family. So it is all to reach everyone, everywhere, always. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Now it's a quick question of audience poll. You have to answer in yes or no only. The question is: do you follow the guidelines of Anemia Mukt Bharat program according to your age group? If your answer is yes, just raise your hand. A quick question for you all. 5 seconds. How many of you are following the guidelines of Anemia Mukt Bharat program according to your age group? So we can see there is a very much less ratio. If I will do a survey, I think only 7 to 8% of our audience is following this. So this was the basic significance of organizing this webinar. Now,
towards the end of the session, we have with us a motivational speaker for the day, that is respected Dr. Jaya Devendra ma'am, Professor and Head of Department of Ophthalmology in NIMS Hospital. She's a lady with a beautiful soul and mind full of wisdom. She's also a graceful classical dancer, a glaucoma specialist, and has earned several laurels in her field. We firmly believe the one who provides vision to society by her magnificent skills must be carrying a great vision in her own eyes. I'm sure she'll improve our vision and insight on the topic. Bring the change, set your alarm. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Tanvi, for the very sweet introduction. A very good afternoon to respected principal ma'am, respected senior teachers, my co-speakers, and dear students. I cannot share the screen right now, so.
ma'am, just a minute, I'll check this.
I think you will have to stop your share before I can.
Yeah. I'm pleased to share now. Thank you.
All right. So when I was approached by Guru Dutt for speaking on anemia, initially I was a little hesitant because I said to him that I'm an ophthalmologist and what would I talk about in anemia? And then it struck me that one of the best signs to look for anemia is pallor. And one of the best places to see pallor is the eye. And what do I do all day? I'm looking at eyes all day. So I said, okay, I will talk. And to me is bring the change, set your alarm. So before I start with my topic as such, even though other speakers have touched on prevalence, I would briefly like to revisit the prevalence. So what is the burden of anemia worldwide? The WHO estimates the number of anemic people worldwide to be a staggering 2 billion. Out of these, 42% of children less than 5 years of age and 40% of pregnant women worldwide are anemic. If we look at all women, then 1/3 of all women are anemic. Now coming to the burden of anemia in India, as we have already seen, anemia is widespread in India. And as per the National Family Health Survey of 2016, anemia in children less than 5 years of age was 58%. Anemia in non-pregnant women is 53%. Anemia in pregnant women is 50%, and anemia in adolescent girls is 54%. What is really striking about these figures are that all of them are over 50%. That means 1 in every 2 small child, non-pregnant, pregnant, or adolescent female will be suffering from anemia. And what I have seen in my clinical practice is that I have a habit of always lowering the lower lid, and no matter what the complaint of the patient may be, I do look into the eyes. And actually, almost every second woman would have pallor. So initially, I used to send them for a hemoglobin investigation, and then I realized that most of them never come back to me with the report. So then what I started doing was that I would take a short history. Do you feel fatigued? Do you feel lethargic? And I started writing iron for 1 month and then calling them back for 1 month. So these statistics, they correlate very well clinically also with females who are presenting. Why did I leave this last bit out? Anemia in adolescent boys, 29%. What do we associate with adolescent boys? We associate youthfulness and vigor. Bhag ke kahin jana hai, okay, send the young boy. You have to lift a heavy weight. Okay, he's a young boy, he can do it. So that is what the society expects of young boys. And this is a staggering figure that 29% of adolescent boys are also anemic. That is more than 1 in every 4 boys. What about the men? So anemia in men in India, in a survey published in the Lancet Global Health in 2019, it was found that 23.2% of men suffer from anemia, out of which 5.1% had severe anemia. So that means that almost 1 in every 4 men is also suffering from anemia, and anemia among men is an important public health issue. But it receives very little research and policy attention. As we have seen, most of the policies are focused towards young children, women, pregnant women, lactating women. Very few policies are actually focusing on the men also being anemic. Now, before I talk about what really we can do, let us understand why it is important for us to counter anemia. What does the society really expect from us? Now, I put this figure of a woman. She's expected to be a very good professional, hold her job very well, but she's also expected to run her house very smoothly. At home, she's a full-time homemaker. She has to look after her children. She has to see there's food on the table. But in the workplace, she has to stand shoulder to shoulder with the men. She has to juggle all these things. And here I've put the photograph of a society woman or a city woman. But the role of women in society, even those who are living in villages, is very tough. In fact, I would say it is tougher because women who are living in villages, they have to do a lot of hard manual physical labor. I was talking about the role of women in the villages, and they are expected to be even more physically fit, lifting weights, tilling the soil. Here you can see she's making upla or cooking on the open fire. So these women are also expected to have a lot of physical capability in their day-to-day lives. I can see somebody's mic, if it's muted, please. As for men, it goes without saying that a lot is expected out of men by the society. Men are expected to be very, very physically fit, stronger than women. Most of their jobs also, in fact, the jobs that require high physical effort are handled by men, be it in the field, be it in day-to-day lives. Even in the office, a lot of mental acumen is required, a lot of concentration is required, which requires energy. And now, in these days, especially in COVID times, we see that even at the home front, men are not spared, and they are expected to help out even in the homes. So, what are the effects of anemia? Even mild to moderate anemia, we have already seen, leads to fatigue, lethargy, reduced exercise capacity, shortness of breath on exertion, rapid and irregular heartbeat after exercise. And mind you, all these are symptoms when your hemoglobin level is between 8 to 12 milligram per deciliter. I'm not even talking about when it is lower than 8. So fatigue and lethargy are the commonest symptoms of anemia or the effects of anemia. Now just look at this. This is what anemia does to us. And this is what the society expects from us. There is such a discrepancy. Even in children, the society expects them to be performing well in school, to be doing well in sports. And I have already said that from women and men, their roles in society expect them to be working fully fit. But anemia, causing all the fatigue, lethargy, and reduced exercise capacity, will not allow them to fulfill all their roles to their best ability. So the government is doing a lot, and Dr. Amit Kamboj has very nicely covered all the programs that the Indian government has to combat anemia. There's the National Nutritional Anemia Prophylaxis Program. It was initiated as far back as 1970. Then there were other programs, and right now from 2018, the Anemia Mukt Bharat Abhiyan is running. When I saw this chart of the Anemia Mukt Bharat Abhiyan, what struck me and what I would like also to bring to your notice, that this program was started in 2018 and the target was to be reached in 2022, that is 4 years. And in 4 years, if you notice, they have kept very modest goals for themselves. And it was very nicely highlighted by Dr. Amit also that how difficult it is, even though anemia can easily be corrected, how difficult it is to combat them. So you see, they have, for children younger than 5 years, they have not even kept the goal of halving the prevalence of anemia in these 4 years. They have kept the goal pretty modest to bring it down from 58% to 40%. In adolescent girls also, they want to bring it down from 54 to 36%. In women, 35%. So all these goals are very modest. The point that I'm trying to bring forward here is that it just shows that it is not easy to overcome anemia. The government knows that maybe the reach of the programs is not good enough. And that is why their goals are not that we will eradicate anemia or halve it or anything. They have kept pretty modest goals. So those are what the government is doing at their level. What can you as medical students now and later as medical professionals, what can you do at your level? Now, you have to remember one thing, that once you are a medical professional and you give any advice to anyone, it will be taken much more seriously just because of the fact that you are a medical professional. So it is important to inform and educate, okay? Now, one thing while I was researching this topic, I read a line and it really struck me. And this line was that the prevalence of anemia, and I've highlighted it in red, decreases with schooling. So women with no schooling had 56% prevalence of anemia, and those with schooling had 49%. Similar with men. Men who had no schooling had a prevalence of 29% of anemia, and those who had been schooled had 18%. And I was thinking, what could be the reason? It could be maybe midday meal. It could be maybe that the people who are sending their children to school, they have a higher socioeconomic background, maybe better diet, but then I realized, no, there are free primary schools, so that really could not be the reason. And then I realized that all school books, even at primary level, they do have a chapter on nutrition. They do tell us what are the nutrients, how you should take a balanced diet. And it is definitely that information and education leads to a better awareness on what and how you should take your diet, so that you can eradicate these nutritional deficiencies, especially anemia. So inform and educate. Who should you inform and educate? Don't go too far. Just the people in your lives. Look around, your family members, your contacts, your acquaintances. It could be the cook who's coming in your house to cook. It could be your cleaner. It could be your grandparents. It could be anyone. So identify the people who are at risk. It could be young children. It could be women who are menstruating or pregnant. It could be people with illnesses like intestinal disorders, chronic diseases. It could be people with poor diet, the elderly. Now here I especially wanted to put a picture of the elderly. Generally the elderly, not on purpose, but they end up being neglected in the sense that you would feel that they are having the same diet as everyone else. If nobody else is anemic, why should my elderly old grandparent be anemic? Now remember, I have on purpose chosen this photograph. Many of them have dental problems. Many of them have digestion problems. They cannot absorb the nutrients as well. So special attention should be paid to the elderly. They may be anemic. They move slowly anyway, so lethargy may go unnoticed. So they should be paid special attention to. And it is important to identify the correct cause of anemia. Just giving an iron tablet to everyone may not help. A small child may have a hookworm infection. Another woman may have fibroids leading to too much bleeding. So the correct cause of anemia should be identified. Then what steps do you need to take? Educate the people at risk in your family, your contacts, about iron-rich foods and vitamin C. We all know about iron-rich foods. They have very nicely been covered by previous speakers. Green leafy vegetables, meat and liver, apples, bananas, pomegranates, these are all iron-rich foods. But please, if you are prescribing iron-rich foods, look at the pocket of the patient. Don't tell a very poor man who is walking into your OPD with no slippers on that feed your child liver and meat every day. He will not do it. So tell the patient, look at the pocket and tell the patient, give him advice that he would follow. When you go into the community, give them advice you would follow. And today I'm going to tell you certain food items that are very reasonable, that are cheap, but they are still iron rich. And the ubiquitous potato, if the potato is cleaned well and it is cooked with its jacket, that if it is cooked with its skin, it is a very good source of iron because the skin has iron. Whole wheat flour, bajra, ragi, jowar, all these are very good sources of iron. Green leafy vegetables you can cook with lentils. So you can just put palak in your dal. So lentils are a good source of iron. Then again, a whole wheat flour, I said, soya bean, which is quite reasonable, and that is also beans and pulses. All these are good sources of iron. Of course, you have to tell them that it is better to take iron with some source of vitamin C because that improves absorption. Cooking methods also need to change. Now with advancement, everyone has non-stick cookware. Go into your kitchen today and look at the non-stick cookware. Very few non-stick cookware retains its pristine condition after 3 or 4 months of use. And then instead of being a good cooking utensil, it becomes a cancer-causing cooking utensil. You should just throw it out. Once the coating is disturbed, it starts leaching perfluorocarbons into the food, which cause cancer. So we have to go back to our old cooking methods, which was cooking in cast iron utensils. And these days, you get excellent cast iron utensils, which if tempered well, become non-stick. So we should use them. It was seen that acidic foods with high moisture contents, such as tomato sauce, will absorb most iron from these cooking pans. And in one study, the iron content in spaghetti sauce tripled after it had been simmered in a cast iron pot. So get your parents to buy the cast iron pot and ask your mummy that, okay, from now on, the food should, as far as possible, be cooked in cast iron utensils. One thing that was so brilliant, such a brilliant idea, the of Canadians working in Cambodia, and they developed the lucky iron fish in 2008. It is just a cast iron ingot. It is fish shaped, and they put it into the pot of water where they are simmering their soups and all. And this releases the iron, and that iron is infused in the food, and it increases the iron content of the food that is being taken. So have a routine for iron supplementation. Many times we just, what are the causes? Why do we stop taking iron? Or we know we are anemic. Why do we not take iron? Many times we just forget. Many patients, they remember, but once they take it, they have a lot of gastric upset. Some people have acidity, some people may have loose motions, and some may have constipation. Many times we just don't bother. I myself belong to this category. The iron tablet is lying there, it gets expired, I forget. I just don't bother. So how can we remember to take iron supplementation? And one of the very easy methods, thank you Gurudat, was that we can set an alarm or a reminder on our phone, and the phone will ring. It could be bi-weekly if you're not so anemic. It could be daily at a fixed time. Or you can link your iron supplementation with your routine activities. Say you have lunch on your dining table, keep your iron tablet pill bottle right there. So after your lunch, you can remember to take it. Now remember, iron is best absorbed on an empty stomach, but those suffering from gastrointestinal upset should take it after meals, and you should avoid taking it with calcium, milk, antacids, tea, coffee, all these things. My last line is, you cannot pour from an empty cup. What do I mean by this? The society expects you to have a role. As doctors, you will be leaders in the society. You will be educationists in the society. If you yourself are anemic and feeling lethargic and low on energy, you will not be able to perform to the best of your ability. So you have to first take care of yourself and your anemia, and then you can share. So you cannot pour from an empty cup. Anemia is easy to beat, provided we are motivated to beat it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, ma'am, especially for boosting our motivation further.
To finish off this informative webinar, we would like to present a small video on Intensified National Iron Initiative. Our college, National Institute of Medical Sciences and Research, Jaipur, firmly supports and promotes this program. Now, with any further ado, let's watch the video. सोना सोना तू करती पर सोना क्या जाने तेरा मोल रखो में तेरी लोहा हो तो तू हो जाए अनमोल तेरी मिट्टी में है लोहा तेरी लहू में है लोहा ओ बुढ़ी लोहा चख ले ओ हीरे ये लोहा चख ले लोहा चख ले सोना बन जा अपना ही तू कहना बन जा लोहा चख ले सोना बन जा अपना ही तू कहना बन जा ओ बुढ़ी लोहा चख ले ओ हीरे ये लोहा चख ले ओ जुगनी लोहा चख ले Coming to the end of the session, I think words of gratitude are of utmost importance if we have great people around us, those who have given us their precious time for us. So I, Gurudat Tyagi, the member of Curriculum Committee, Student Welfare Committee and Elsevier Student Ambassador 2020, along with my colleague Tanvi Didwania, I would like to take this privilege to thank you all for being here. I'm starting with our Honorable Dean, Principal and Controller, Dr. Meenakshi Sharma ma'am. She had so many meetings today and still she came for us. To bless her. Then thanks to all the respected speakers, Dr. Yogaraj Kinchi sir, Dr. Deepa Lokwani Masan ma'am, Dr. Jaya Devendra ma'am, Dr. Vinita Ilani ma'am, Dr. Amit Kamboj sir, and not just speakers, we have so many faculty members added to our meeting, like Dr. UK Gupta sir, Dr. Madhuri ma'am, Dr. Shikha ma'am, Dr. Yogaraj sir, Dr. Vineet sir, and so many faculty members, respected ones. Thanks to all this. Yeah, thanks to the source of motivation of ours, especially our PSM HOD, Dr. Lieutenant Colonel Dr. R.K. Manohar sir. We have this idea came from him only. So I congratulate and thanks him for giving us an idea and presenting this as an opportunity. Now that's the way we can like words. These words are really necessary. Our speakers are so much busy. They have to attend their OPDs and all the things, and still they came for us. Sincere thanks to all the esteemed faculty members and the PG residents for supporting us and being a part of this session. I express my heartfelt gratitude to all the attendees from our college and also from various other renowned institutions across India.
That's true, Tanvi. The list is very long, be it the students of NIMS Medical College, dental or physiotherapy, and not just NIMS, but a huge list of the attentive learners of Lady Harding Medical College, Maulana Azad, Vardhaman Mahavir, AIMS Bathinda, Udaipur, Jaipur, UCMS, UPMS, KGMC, KCGMC. If I'll take all the names, BPS GMC, so it would be a very long list. And I thank you all for attending our session and coming for us only. Last but not the least, the backbone and and my support system, I must say. This is my team. I personally want to give credit and thanks to each one of them. Not me, but Shubham Goyal, Amok Sinha, the college representative, Tanvi, Chahat, Jangir and Shikarwar, Pramiti, Shalini, Pranshu, Kaish, Jain, Sanskriti, Hritik, Tushar, Ayush, Shivam. I never felt like these are all just like my friends. They never, उन्होंने कुछ बताया, हमने सीखा, हमने कुछ बताया, उन्होंने सीखा. So togetherly we form a very greatest and a bestest team ever for this event. Thank you very much, all of you. Now, you can check the recording of today's webinar on our YouTube channel, Medico Peers, which has sponsored this program. So, and if you like the video, you can do that also, like, share, and subscribe. So, our university will be uploading this video there and on the university channel also. Question and answer session will not be taking as we have exceeded time limit so much. So, you can we have taken your questions and we will get back to you with the answers of the question from our esteemed speakers via an email or via PDF file on the WhatsApp only. So, thank you very much, everyone, for attending this session. Thank you.